Jim is a force of nature. His work ethic is unparalleled, so the man does not stop. He throws himself into what he believes in and cares about, and that is his family, cows, and conserving Florida.
Jim is the real deal. There's no beating around the bush with Jim. He tells it like it is. He's a guy that you can depend on. And if you're a friend and you need him, he's going to be there. That's the kind of guy Jim is.
My family came to Florida around 1860, settled in Marion County and Citrus County. Everybody in my line has been in the cattle business.
Born in Bradenton, Florida in April of 1955 to parents Hiram and Eleanor Strickland, Jim grew up with his younger sister Patricia on the family's cattle ranch in the heart of the Myakka River watershed. As a young man, Jim would spend his days on horseback riding by his father's side across the vast expanses of Florida's native prairies and pasture lands. When he wasn't managing the family's ranch, Jim's father also worked as a cowboy for hire, as a volunteer firefighter, and as the Manatee County property appraiser. Tragically, Jim's father passed away when he was just 17 years old, leaving the family in a perilous position.
My dad died whenever I was right out of high school, so I understand about losing things. I understand what ranchers and agricultural people that own land can go through. With the lack of estate planning, with interest rates high, with us owing a lot of money, we had to sell nearly everything we had. At that age, I did not understand business, but I did know what I wanted to do, and that was to keep the cattle. That is the one thing that we kept out of the estate. Since my father was the property appraiser, I started taking classes at college on real estate appraisal. I think that really helped me 20 years later with a partnership that I developed.
You know, in those younger days, Jim and I and my brother, we'd spend a lot of time on the bird buggy quail hunting on Saturday and Sundays, but you might have to stop in the middle of it to go get cows put back in or whatever it was, or patch a fence that cows were out. But we actually took time to do that too. You know, he had his own cattle, but then he was coming helping us when we were, you know, working cows and moving cattle, and then he got the opportunity to go to work for the property appraiser's office. So that was a time probably in his life that, you know, it kind of stressed him because he had a day-to-day job, and then he actually had his cow herd he had to take care of too.
As Florida's population grew, new developments expanded, pushing Jim and his cattle further inland from the lands he once leased along the Gulf Coast. Gradually, Jim acquired additional leases for his cattle, while also fostering new relationships.
Blackbeard's Ranch is a partnership that I am the minority partner, but the managing partner. And it's about 5,000 acres, and we're very diversified here on this ranch. We have about 1,200 head of cows here on this ranch. We do have horses, we do have chickens, and we do have pigs. We got a few goats. We manage it very intensely.
I love my ranch, and I love hanging out with my dad on the ranch and riding horses. And like doing cattle, watching the cattle, like seeing all of the other horses and seeing the bulls. And seeing chickens, collecting the eggs, but mostly spending time with my family, pets, and friends. And also riding horses with my dad and spending time with my dad a lot. So that's what I like.
Managed with purpose, Blackbeard's Ranch is a model of positive environmental impact. Providing multiple ecosystem services, the ranch acts as a natural buffer and water filtration system for the Myakka River and the Charlotte Harbor estuary, while also providing habitat for native wildlife. After seeing firsthand the impact development has had on Florida, in 2016, Jim co-founded the Florida Conservation Group, where he currently serves as vice chairman alongside his wife, Julie.
I met him 9 years ago when he was interested in learning more about conservation easements. Within 5 minutes, it was very, very clear that he was someone that could really tell the story of Florida and ranching in a way that would really inspire and resonate with people across the board.
Well, the Florida Conservation Group is a group that tries to promote conservation in Florida, particularly conservation easements particularly for water resources, wildlife, and to be able to keep these ranches in working order where people can stay on the land.
Today, over 1,500 acres of Blackbeard's waterways and working lands are under conservation easement, protected in perpetuity through the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service's Wetlands Reserve Easement Program, the Rural and Family Lands Protection Program, and the Florida Forever Program.
He's dedicated a lot of time to trying to make sure that we have funding and good conservation programs. Him and his wife, Julie, has worked endlessly to make sure that people were getting conservation easements at a fair price, and that the funding was there to keep that program going, especially the Florida Rural Family Lands Program.
Every time, we're able to conserve a piece of land, or another group or a person is able to conserve a piece of land, society benefits from that as a whole.
We're protecting that land, that water, those species, that wildlife corridor. Let's not forget that people like me, we're about 0.5% of the population of Florida. We're some of the best people in the world, but there's only that many of us.
For his efforts in conservation, in 2018, Jim was presented with the Florida Department of Agriculture's Environmental Leadership Award, Environmental Ranch of the Year, and the Florida Cattlemen's Association Environmental Stewardship Award. Jim was recognized again in 2019 when he was awarded the Audubon Society Sustainable Ranch of the Year, while Blackbeard's Ranch was bestowed with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association Environmental Ranch of the Year. A champion of environmental stewardship, Jim has served on the Board of Trustees for the Archbold Biological Station and as co-chairman of the Florida Climate Smart Agricultural Work Group, helping to identify environmental challenges facing Florida agriculture and implement practical solutions that benefit the public, producers, and the planet. With a strong desire to further improve the cattle industry through research and development, Jim's membership on the University of Florida's Ona Range Cattle Research and Education Center Advisory Committee since 2005 was recognized when he was presented with the university's Land Steward Award in 2021.
The University of Florida is paramount to the success of agriculture. A lot of other universities are wonderful across Florida, but a land-grant university is devoted to the science and the research on all types of commodities.
A member of the Florida Cattlemen's Association since 1974, Jim served as its president from 2010 through 2011, and later as chairman of the Florida Cattlemen's Foundation from 2012 through 2017.
After his term with the Cattlemen's Association, he served as the chairman of the foundation. The Cattlemen's Foundation is a nonprofit that benefits education, research, and development through the cattle industry.
I think back as Jim leading through in the FCA side, and he was really strong. I mean, they ended up growing the association. On the foundation side, the foundation had been in existence for a while. Jim made it his goal to raise some money, and he went out and really got our foundation headed in the right direction.
A natural communicator, Jim served as vice chairman of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association Political Action Committee from 2014 through 2015, and furthermore as chairman from 2016 through 2017. His success was rewarded with an appointment by the United States Secretary of Agriculture to serve on the Florida USDA Farm Service Agency State Committee in 2023. As his reach in the cattle industry grew, Jim explored new avenues for his own enterprise, and in 2007 he began shipping livestock internationally, developing new relationships, and further building the influence of Florida's saltwater cowboy.
Whenever I got in the international business, John Hoblick got an earful from me saying, you really need an international trade committee. And John said, great. He said, there's an opportunity for you to be on the think tank in Washington for American Farm Bureau on international trade, and I'll put you as chairman of the International Trade Committee.
Jim's background with his local Manatee County Farm Bureau and his expertise in foreign trade served him well as a member of the American Farm Bureau's International Trade Think Tank from 2000 to 2003, and again as chairman of the Florida Farm Bureau's International Trade Committee from 2013 through 2016. Like his father, Jim is regarded as a local leader for his service to his community, having sat on both the Manatee County Disaster Preparedness Board as well as the Manatee County SPCA.
I was really proud to serve the Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, the local chapter. I served there. I think I had an impact because I was a rancher. I deal with thousands of animals. We have kept ranchers on that program since I left.
Jim is also an emeritus board member of the Manatee River Fair Association. He has supported the Manatee County Ag Museum since 2002 and was instrumental in the creation of the Cattle Ranching Museum, located at the Florida State Fairgrounds, showcasing over 500 years of cattle ranching in the Sunshine State.
We've run a lot of children through that museum. We have a lot of interaction of children with games and different types of agriculture that let them know that there's agriculture and what it does in their community.
Jim will tell you that family is his number one priority and his biggest success.
I'm blessed. I've got two wonderful daughters, Sable and Ayla. Julie and I have been partners, confidants, friends for 9 or 10 years. I'm now blessed to have her as my wife. My son, JJ, he's a lieutenant colonel in the Army. I am very proud of him. His wife, Sarah, I couldn't ask for a better daughter-in-law. And I think I've got the most wonderful granddaughter in the world, Quinn Sloan Strickland.
Jim's happiest in the woods. He's happiest riding his horse with Ayla, our daughter, and checking on his animals. He has these gifts which have enabled him to make a difference, and he is compelled to do that. But where he wants to be is here in the woods with us. Yeah.
Thank you, Patty.
Love you too.
After surviving a lightning strike when he was 13 years old that took the lives of horses, dogs, and men, Jim's true grit has proven that it takes a lot to keep a Florida cowboy down. Jim Strickland truly is a paladin of Florida agriculture.
So, are we done with the film?